Can you lose your Social Security benefits? The answer is actually yes. There are actually 8 different ways by which your Social Security benefits could be severely cut or eliminated completely. Recently, there's been a growing number of seniors on Social Security and disability who are finding out that their benefits have been severely cut or, in some cases, paused for various reasons. So, I did some research on this and I wanted to bring you up to date on what you need to know in order to avoid your Social Security benefits being interrupted, reduced, or eliminated completely. Now, while I was doing my research, I saw this article from CBS that came recently, and it says 3 ways you can lose your Social Security benefit. Well, there are more than 3 ways to do that, and so I'm going to walk you through that. Now, before I get into anything, my name is Kwame Kwade. I am a government benefits expert. For 15 years, I've been helping seniors get the retirement benefits they deserve. I cover topics on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and other personal finance issues that affect seniors both in and out of Congress. Now, if you're new here, welcome. I am really happy you're here. Do me a quick favor, go into the comment section and let me know your city and your state because I like to know where you guys are watching my broadcast from. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, welcome back. I am glad you're here. So there is a lot to cover, but I have some exciting personal news. I have been talking about this for a while, and some of you have actually asked about it, but we do now have a podcast. So it's called the Retirement Navigator. So if you've been wanting to dive deeper into all the topics we've been covering here on this Benefits Insider channel, subscribe to our podcast, Retirement Navigator, and I'll be covering a whole host of topics that we never cover here on this channel. So go into the comments. There will be a link or in the description to subscribe to this channel. Now, let's get to the news of the day, which is how or ways by which people lose their Social Security benefits. So, as I mentioned, CBS News did this article. So, I'm going to read a little bit of it because the article actually came out today, September the 2nd, and I wanted to bring it to your attention. It says the average Social Security benefit for retired workers is under 2,000, and tens of millions of Americans rely on it. But while retirees should try and avoid being reliant on Social Security alone, especially now that there's so many questions about Social Security, there are ways by which you can do things that can lead to your benefits being completely stopped or reduced. And so CBS identified a couple of those things, and I want to bring that to your attention. The first one is working before your full retirement age. Now, it does not necessarily mean that you're going to lose all your benefit, but if you trip a certain threshold, you can severely reduce your benefit. And there's been people who worked up to a certain amount and did not know that if you cross that threshold, you could lose a whole chunk of your benefits, and they end up losing their entire benefit because they worked too much while they were under their full retirement age. So I'm going to explain how that works. So if you claim Social Security before your full retirement age and continue to work, your benefits can be temporarily reduced if your earnings exceed the Social Security Administration's annual limit. For 2025, anyone under full retirement age can earn up to $22,560 per year before being affected. But every $2 you go above that limit, you lose $1 in your benefit. So let me do the quick math for you. Let's say that you go over that benefit or over that limit by, let's say, $3,000 a month, and you are getting $1,500 a month in Social Security. You have effectively eliminated your entire Social Security check. How does that work? Because for every $2 you go over the limit, you lose $1 in benefit. So if you go over the limit by $3,000 a month, then essentially you are, reducing your benefit by $1,500. And so if you're getting $1,500 in Social Security benefit and you go over the earnings limit by that amount, you've effectively told the Social Security Administration you don't want your check anymore. They are going to keep it because that's the rule. Now, that is not a permanent thing. You don't permanently lose the check. Once you reach your full retirement age, they are going to recalculate the benefit and you're going to get all that money back later. But if you needed the money now, then that's a problem. Now, if 2025 is your full retirement age year, you can work up to 59,520 and not get a reduction. But if you exceed that limit, for every $3 you go over that limit, you lose $1. Now, as I said, it's not a permanent loss since the Social Security Administration recalculates your benefit to give you credit for months when payments were withheld, meaning your lifetime benefit may not actually decrease. Still, it is important to know because some people are surprised that they retire, they're getting retirement benefits, they are working because they need the money, or they are planning to do something big or going on a big vacation and they're working extra hours, working overtime. They get all this money and then they realize that they've gone over the limit. And then now your benefits are going to be severely reduced. So the money you wanted to use on that big project or that, big vacation or whatever you're trying to do, now you've severely impacted that because you are working before your full retirement age and claiming Social Security. So that is the most common way people lose their benefit. The second one is garnishment or taxation. Now, President Trump said he had completely eliminated taxes on Social Security with the big, beautiful bill, but that is not entirely accurate. Right now, about 80% of seniors can safely get their Social Security benefits without being taxed. But the big, beautiful bill did not completely eliminate taxes on Social Security. So there is still federal taxes on Social Security that's going to impact some people. And the big, beautiful bill is not a direct elimination. So you have to file taxes in order to get that 6,000 tax deduction. So if you're getting Social Security benefits and you are allowing them to withhold taxes from your benefit, that is still going to continue to happen unless you stop it. But the bigger picture is that about 20% of seniors are still going to pay taxes on their Social Security, and there are also state taxes. So taxation can severely reduce your Social Security benefit. Another thing that can get you, in that category of getting your Social Security severely reduced is if you owe federal debt. Recently, some seniors have been surprised to find out that student loans that they've defaulted on now are coming back to catch up to them, where their Social Security benefits are being affected. So if you owe money for the federal taxes, setting student loans, or unpaid child support, the government can withhold portion of your Social Security benefit to satisfy those debt. Those are the narrow categories of people that actually get impacted. Now, another category of people who are surprised to find out that their Social Security benefit have been reduced are people on spousal or survivor benefits. And let me explain that. If you receive survivor or spousal benefit and you change your marital status, you may lose your benefit. If you're getting spousal benefit based on somebody's record and you remarry, you can lose that benefit. Or if you are, getting divorce benefit and then you remarry at a certain age, you may be ineligible for that benefit. So, for example, if you are divorced spouse remarrying before 60, or if a child, and this happens a lot where children age out of Social Security when they're getting survivor benefits, and then the parent sees their Social Security check severely reduced because the child has aged out. So that's something that you have to prepare for. And then here is a new one that has been happening recently because of the Trump administration's renewed effort to combat waste, fraud, and abuse. They are doing random checks on Social Security eligibility. So what that means is that the Social Security Administration may periodically request documentation to confirm eligibility, such as proof of age. And if you fail to provide that evidence, it may delay or temporarily halt your benefits. And then another category of people that have now received increased scrutiny are seniors that are living abroad. Some retirees who live outside the United States may face restrictions or a reduction in benefits depending on their country of residence or citizenship status. Because remember, now they are trying to make sure that even if you are a permanent resident, you may, in some cases, not be eligible for Social Security, even if you've paid into the system and have earned the credits to get benefits. That may be limited. So those are some of the ways that you can lose your benefit. Now, there are other ways that people have lost their benefits, and I'm going to give you two of them because I promised to give you 8 different ways you can lose your Social Security benefit. So let's talk about the first one, which is Social Security overpayment. Each year, 3 million people lose or lose a portion of their Social Security benefits to overpayment. And there are two categories of overpayments that we need to talk about. And recently, I think I'm going to search this. 60 Minutes did a documentary or a huge report on Social Security overpayment. And I think that every senior should watch this because it is some scary stuff. They profiled about 5 different people, and they share these stories of these couples and individuals who are on Social Security who were hoping to retire happily and then all of a sudden get hit with Social Security overpayment and end up losing a whole chunk of their benefits. So, this is the documentary or the special report on 60 Minutes. If I can close out of these pop ups. And then you can see here 60 Minutes how Social Security overpayments mistakes can become your responsibility. And so they profiled a lot of these seniors on Social Security retirement benefit. In one case, this lady, who is the one that is featured right here, she started receiving Social Security benefits, and unbeknownst to her, Social Security was paying her more money than she was eligible for, which was not her fault. She signed up for Social Security, she started receiving the check, she thought that was what she was eligible for. Well, apparently not. So what happened was that 2 years later, the Social Security Administration found out that they were paying her 3 times what she should have received. So they stopped her payment completely. And for a 2-year period, they never sent her a dime. And they used all that money to try to repay the money that they have paid to her in excess through no fault of hers. But these things happen. So even though it is their fault, it is still your responsibility to make sure that you are being paid the correct Social Security amount. How do you check that? You need to go into the Social Security website or make an appointment and visit an office and get a printout of your Social Security statement and verify to make sure that you are being paid what you deserve. Now, on the flip side of that, you can also make sure that you are not being cheated out of money that you have earned and are responsible for. So here's another story from that 60-minute episode. And this is somebody on disability. Her husband was on disability benefits. And when you're on disability and you are working, there's something called trial work period. You are required by the government to report your earnings. They were doing just that, diligently reporting his earnings, but his Social Security benefits were supposed to be adjusted down based on how much money he's making. That wasn't happening. That went on for a long time. And then they get hit with a $60,000 bill because he was paid $60,000 more than he was eligible for. And this became a big, big stress point for them because when you get an overpayment letter, you are given 30 days to pay the money back, or they will start collection activity, which means they will stop sending you your Social Security, disability, or retirement check, and they will start sending you some threatening letters that you owe the government money. Currently, the federal government is owed $23 billion in overpayment. So they're getting very aggressive in trying to collect the money that they believe they are owed, regardless of whether it's their fault or not. And then the third story, which I hope was featured in this article, is even more crazy because this is somebody that received Social Security. Here we go. So he received Social Security as a child, Social Security disability benefits. And so his mom was the one receiving the benefits on his behalf as a disabled child. And then eventually his disability improved. And so he no longer needed the Social Security benefits. Well, it turns out that the Social Security Administration was sending him more money for a longer period than he was eligible for. Mind you, they were sending this to his mother. Now he's an adult working, and now the Social Security Administration is coming back probably 18 years later saying that he owes them money, and that because he's now an adult and is working, he is responsible for paying it back. So the point I'm trying to make is that you can lose your Social Security benefits or get in trouble with the Social Security Administration for something you probably did not do, but they still hold you responsible for. So, from a Social Security benefits perspective, even if they make a mistake in calculating your benefits, even if they send you more money than you deserve through no fault of yours, even if they were supposed to reduce your benefit because you were working and exceeded a certain threshold, and they failed to adjust your benefits appropriately, even if you were sending them the documentation required, it is still your responsibility to stay on top of that. Because you may think you've won the lottery because you're getting more money than you deserve. And then one day you'll be there and they'll send you a very nasty letter asking you to pay money back in 30 days or risk having your benefits reduced or cut off, depending on what kind of benefits you're receiving. So, those are the ways by which you can lose your benefit. So, I know a lot of you have been responding in the comments about Social Security overpayments. A lot of you have been, especially disability beneficiaries, complaining about the fact that your benefits have all of a sudden been reduced. I want to hear your stories. So let me know in the comment section below. And if you know somebody that has experienced something like this, I want to hear about it, because we are finding that there's a growing number of people who are now getting more scrutiny regarding their Social Security benefits, especially disability beneficiaries. And we want to collect these stories and share it with a wider audience, because we want to make sure that if you are in danger of losing your benefit, that we provide you all the critical information you need. So if you have a story to share, let me know in the comment section below. And finally, I want to talk to you about Medicare, and give me 90 seconds to share this amazing news with you. So over 2,000 of our viewers have called our Medicare partner, Chapter Medicare, and that's the number you see on the screen right now. And they've gotten help with their Medicare plans. Now, why is that important? Well, the big news is that Medicare is not one of those programs where when you sign up, you can assume that you're going to get the best benefit that you deserve. You have to go in there and look through the 24,000 plans and pick what is right for you. And a lot of seniors find it very overwhelming, and they end up getting into plans that do not meet their needs. And there's nothing worse than getting into a Medicare situation and needing coverage and realizing that you did not get the plan that best fits your need or meets the need, the coverage that you desperately need. And that's where Chapter comes in. They would look at your plan today and tell you if you're in the right plan or not. If you're not, they'll work with you to get into the right plan. Why is that important? Because in your lifetime, you are going to get more money from Medicare to pay for your bills than you're going to get in a Social Security check. So if you want to get the Medicare that you paid into, that you've earned, and that you deserve, have Chapter check your plan today and make sure that you're getting the best plan available to you. So call them on the number on the screen, 539-214, and make sure that they are looking at the plan that you have and put you in a better plan. 539-205-2147, or go to askchapter.org/insider. I'll put the link in the comments. You can fill out the form very quickly. It doesn't take a minute. And then they will call you and get you into the right plan. So that is all I have to share with you today. Remember, I have my podcast that I just launched. It's called The Retirement Navigator. I'll also put the link in the comments. Sign up, because I have exciting things coming and some exciting guests that are going to be joining me to dig deeper into how to navigate retirement and maximize your retirement benefits.